I will explain the anatomy of how your stress system works, as this is crucial in understanding anxiety. We have two minds, the logical mind and the emotional mind. In the diagram, this is represented as the prefrontal cortex, the logical mind, and the emotional mind, the orange circle. Information flows between the logical brain and the emotional brain, and the amygdala is the coordinator of the flow of information between the two. The amygdala is our primitive mind, and it goes back as far as we go back. One of its primary goals is to protect us from danger. Whenever there is a perceived threat, it will fire the fight, flight, or freeze response. The emotional mind has a cognition of a 5 or 6-year-old child, so it doesn't work well with negatives or abstraction. Your logical mind is where your intelligence is located. So basically, you have two separate minds sharing the one body. A good analogy is your vision. You have one vision comprising of two pictures, one from the left eye and one from the right eye. You only become aware of this when you have double vision. Your emotional mind has become conditioned from the moment of birth by your own interpersonal experiences, what you witness from your environment, culture, media, etc. Your emotional mind can be in dominance at any moment, which is called mindlessness, or your logical mind can be in dominance, which is called mindfulness. When you are mindless, you are consumed by your automatic thoughts, emotions, and physical sensations. When you are mindful, you have detached awareness of what is happening in your mind and body. So instead of reacting automatically and impulsively, you are free to choose a beneficial thought or carry out a beneficial action, or just do nothing at all. This diagram shows the importance of being mindful in any situation. When you are mindful, your intelligent mind is in the loop when you experience something. Whenever you experience something that your amygdala perceives as a threat, you tend to flip into a mindless automatic state. Overriding this is the key to transforming your emotional response. This brings me now to explaining the stages of anxiety. Anxiety is triggered by a stimulus. This can be an external stimulus or a visualization of an external stimulus. You have two choices with a stimulus, to confront it or avoid it. Many anxiety sufferers will try to avoid the stimulus, but you can't avoid triggers if you are to live a meaningful, fearless life. As I said, a trigger can also be a stimulus that you imagine. Let's say that you have a fear of going to the doctor for an injection, and you have an appointment for an injection in a week's time. You could be sitting at home in total terror, even though there may be no doctor or needle within miles of you at that moment. Everything is a present moment for the subconscious mind. So if you remember something from the past or imagine something in the future, you will respond to it emotionally and physiologically as though it is happening right now. The division of time, last week, next month, etc., is a way of logically making sense of time. When there is a stimulus presented to the mind, your subconscious mind will always interpret it, and if it is perceived as a danger, it will fire the fight or flight response, which gives you additional strength to fight or flee. It is important to remember that perceived danger may not just be physical danger. It can be the danger of being negatively judged, bullied, or shamed, etc. When the fight or flight response is triggered, changes happen in the body to help the person to fight or flee, such as hyperventilation, increased heart rate. Blood rushes from the digestive system and the head to the arms and legs. This causes the butterfly sensations in the stomach and the fainting sensation. Sweating happens to cool the person down when fighting or fleeing. The body becomes much stronger as it is flooded with the energy of adrenaline or cortisol. While those physical sensations are uncomfortable, they are not dangerous. The fourth step in the anxiety sequence is the fear of the physical sensations of adrenaline rush in the body. This is why anxiety is sometimes referred to as the fear of fear. The physical symptoms are scaring the person, not the stimulus, as the person may believe. While the four steps happen automatically in all species, Humans have the ability to override the fourth step when they can stay mindful at the moment and make a logical response to the situation, even when the adrenaline rush is happening. Your subconscious mind is a complex system, and it can generalize learning to incorporate any aspect of the physical surroundings of the perceived danger. I will give you an example to illustrate this. Let's say you are attacked by a dog in the wood. You can develop a fear of that dog or any dog. You can develop a fear of this wood or any wood. If there is a pigeon cooing in the tree, you can develop a fear of pigeons or a fear of all birds. Any smell, sight or sound can be part of the association. The week after being attacked by the dog in the wood, a bird could fly into your back garden, and the terror experience of that moment of being attacked by the dog can be triggered. The person may have no idea where the fear came from. Adrenaline is an increased level of energy in the body. Driving a car is a good analogy. The fuel is the adrenaline that gives energy to the car. When you put your foot in the gas and up gears, the car is increasing the release of energy to make the car go faster. Your adrenal glands release more energy to give you more power to confront the challenge. Energy is energy, no matter what the context. You don't have blue adrenaline when you're angry, green adrenaline when you're running fast, orange adrenaline when you're in danger, or red adrenaline when you're highly excited. You have just one adrenal system. The context gives a particular meaning. In other words, the label you put on the experience you have while you have the adrenaline rush in the body. When you are pumping excess adrenaline and not using it up by fighting or fleeing, the body tries to get rid of it somehow. This is why you shake in a perceived, challenging situation. You are not shaking because you're afraid. You are shaking to get rid of the excess build-up of energy in the body. So any muscle you use while having the increased level of adrenaline will tend to use up more energy than usual. That is why the cup can shake in your hand, or your vocal cords can vibrate excessively when you speak. A panic attack, which is another label I don't like, is just the internal combustion of adrenaline due to the massive build-up of adrenaline that you don't use by fighting or fleeing. You are completely safe, even though you feel overwhelmed and you think that you're about to die. The excess adrenaline is the problem. All species, including humans, are hardwired for survival and expect a successful outcome to the challenge. All species instinctively decide whether fighting or retreating will achieve that successful outcome. This diagram shows this hardwiring. Humans are born hardwired for successful outcomes to challenges, until they feel powerless in a threatening situation. When a young child is in a threatening situation, there is an adrenaline rush. If the adult punishes the child in a way he or she feels abandoned, physically beaten, or aggressively verbally attacked, overriding of this hardwiring can happen. So, instead of them believing in a successful outcome and self-preservation in a challenging situation, they can believe the opposite. In addition to this happening in an adult-child situation, it can happen with peer bullying, etc. Something important is happening here. Instead of the adrenaline surge being linked into a winning outcome, it is looped into the belief of a dreadful outcome. So the feeling of adrenaline surge right now in itself can create a sense of dread, even though they are not in a dangerous situation. I want to further illustrate how the context of an early experience can lead to a problem for life. I will take the example of the fear of injections I mentioned earlier. The doctor is starting to give the injection to the child. The setting, the doctor, and the sight of the syringe are new to the child and was not given the instruction about what is happening. The child starts to panic but must get the injection. Maybe the child is held down and feels trapped and in danger. The emotional mind sees this as dangerous and will want to avoid it at all costs. The adult can understand everything about the procedure now. They understand that nothing in the experience is dangerous. So the procedure is not frightening them. The feeling they get when they think about the experience that is frightening them, but they don't know that. I would explain how to overcome the fear of the adrenaline rush in the next video.